Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out something that I never really knew existed. Now I'm going to show you this. I've had this, and what it is a neck fan. It goes, you know, it's rechargeable. It's actually has like 5 speeds. I think you can buy them for like $20 or $30, and you just turn it on and you put it over your neck, and what it does is it blows air pretty much onto your face. And I've had this for a while, and it's worked fairly well, but it doesn't work that well when it's really hot. Well, this company right here, RANVOO, they asked me if I wanted to step up my cooling game when it came to these neck fans, and they sent me a wearable smart air conditioner. And they also sent me, it's called a Frosty Q, and it is a small portable fan. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to open these up and see what's inside, and then we're going to compare them to this little $25 neck fan and see which one actually works better. All right, so let's open these up and see what we have. All right, it unfolds. And then here is a quick guide right here. It kind of quickly tells you all about the neck air conditioner. It says that there's a charging interface, so the batteries are included. It's rechargeable. And there's also a reset hole, and that is if the device fails to turn on. This thing actually comes with its own app too, so we'll be checking that out as well. It shows that the intake is here. The outlets are all across the sides of the neck right there. There's a display, air volume and temperature adjustment, and a main control button. So let's go ahead and pull it out. First, let's pull out this accessories box right here. And in here is probably some sort of charging cable and actual user's manual. Yeah, here is a very small user's manual. And a, looks like USB-A to USB-C charging cable. And then here is the neck air conditioner. All right, well, first looking at this thing, it is called the Aice. I think it's called the AICE. I'll call it the Aice. And this thing feels really well built. I feel like the insides are like some sort of aluminum, and I feel like that might kind of reduce, or it might kind of zap the heat from your neck. Again, there is the rechargeable port right here. There are a couple of vents on the sides, and then there are also vents on the back. It also says that there is a display. It might be in this cover right here. So let's go ahead and just turn this on and see what it does. All right, I turn it on, the power light turns blue. And right now it shows a full battery, and I think it says C3. And it's already starting to run. And it's not really that loud either. Yeah, and I can feel it, and it's blowing cold air out right here on these vents. And actually this aluminum on the back of my neck and the sides of my neck is cold. And it feels cold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare these outside. Right now it is 90 degrees outside, and it's 5 o'clock p.m. So I'm going to take this outside, this neck fan outside, and all right, when you open this up, you also get a small user's manual. And there is also a little card that is like an extended warranty and a one-on-one customer service accessibility. There is a little box that has a cord. This is also the charging cable for the fan. And then there is the fan in this little tiny bag. And this thing is small. Look how small this is. There is no way this thing can actually cool somebody. Look at this. This thing is tiny. And it's rechargeable. There's a rechargeable port right down there. It's a USB-C charging port, so Very good for nice and common. I like when you turn it on, it shows the percentage of the battery right there. So I like that. And then let's go ahead and crank it up. All right, that's 38%. It shows you the percentage of the speed of the fan as you turn it up and down. That's pretty neat. You know what? Let's just crank this thing up all the way. And actually, this is pretty nice. Like, you can probably hear that. It's probably kind of loud. But that's at 100%. And it actually blows out. It blows out a good amount of air for this tiny of a fan. But in all honesty, I can barely tell a difference between 100% and if I turn it down to 50%, 48, 25. It's at 28%, and the air is still pretty strong. I know you can't tell, but I really can't tell much of a difference between the 28% and the 100%, besides how loud the fan gets, which really isn't that loud, but it's noticeable. And actually, let's test the wind speed with this anemometer right here. First, we'll do 20%. And actually, it's at 19%. Let's go ahead and start. And I've got 12.6 miles per hour. That's 18.5 feet per second, or 5.66 meters per second. So let's go ahead and put it on max. And when you have it on max, we're getting 17.48 miles per hour. That is 25.71 feet per second, or 7.84 meters per second. So when I use this, I'm only probably going to keep it at like 30 or 40%, because honestly, there's no reason to have it any higher. And then there's an off and on switch at the bottom. And again, it tells you the percentage of the battery at that time. So actually, let's go outside with a thermal camera and we'll test out which one does better. Just a fan on your neck that costs like, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks, or this neck air conditioner, which costs more than 20 or $30. All right, everyone. Well, I'm outside, and again, my watch says that it is 89 degrees outside, and there is a bit of a breeze, so it doesn't really feel that bad. And I've got the RANVOO neck air conditioner, and also this no name brand neck fan. And so let's go ahead and turn on a thermal camera, and we're gonna actually see which one does better. So first, I want to try this neck fan, and we're going to see by the thermal camera if you'll notice any difference whatsoever. I'm going to keep it on for a couple minutes just to see what happens, and we'll go from there. I'm going to go ahead and turn the neck fan on, and I'm going to put it on high, which is 3. And let's go and put it on. And you can see my dog behind me back there on the thermal camera. And right now, what it feels like, it just feels like a fan. It feels like a fan blowing, but it's just blowing the same temperature air that's outside. It's just making it a higher breeze, I guess you could say. On the thermal camera, you can't tell any difference in my face compared to my body. My face isn't cooling off, it looks like, at all. Let me get a little bit closer. Yeah, you can see that there's no difference. It still shows that what 90, 94, 95 degrees on my chin, 96 degrees over here. You know, my cheeks are still they're still in the white zone. You really can't tell much. And sorry, I'm not looking at the camera, but the thermal camera is right above me, so that's why I'm not looking at you. So far, this neck fan, again, it just feels like a fan. And with it being kind of breezy outside, I can barely even feel this air. So all I really notice is the loudness of the fan and not really the breeze. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just turn this off, because Honestly, the thermal camera is not catching anything, and all it's doing is being loud to me. So let's take it off. All right, so let's go ahead and turn on this neck air conditioner. And I am going to go ahead and set it for C3, which is on high. It goes C1 through C3. Let's go ahead and put this on. And so far, all I feel is, again, the coolness of the fan. And I'm not sure if these fans are messing up with my voice, so I'm just gonna hold my mic like this. The one thing I do notice is that it's keeping my neck nice and cool. But I don't know if that's just because of the material that's on my neck, this aluminum, or if it's actually cooling. And I believe that's kind of what it does, is that it cools off this metal part, and it's said to like, well, basically I believe what it does is it kind of cools your carotid artery. And that makes it so it kind of cools your neck and it starts to cool your whole body. Yeah, you can see, look at that. You see, look at my neck. Look how blue it is. And that is what it does, is it cools your neck. Look at that. I mean, it looks like I got a giant bruise. But that's not how it is. It's actually cooling, it keeps your neck cool. So even though it's not like blowing, it's not blowing a bunch of air on me, I feel a little bit of a breeze right here. Just enough to kind of notice, but it's keeping my neck very cool. Actually, it's hard to describe, but it's keeping my neck very cool. And I'm definitely, I don't know, I'm not hot. This is not what I expected. I thought it was gonna blow like cold air onto my face, but that's not what it does. It cools these metal parts right here on the neck air conditioner, thus cooling off your neck. You can see right there that my neck is like 79 degrees, which is crazy. All right, I just want to show you this thing off my neck. Look how cold those panels get. I mean, we're looking at 60 degrees. So let's go ahead and take this thing back downstairs, and I'm gonna install the app and see what it can do. All right, I just found out this thing is so much cooler than I thought it would be. It's not just an air conditioner. Let's open up the app and kind of show you what all it can do. All right, I downloaded the app by using the little QR code right here on top. And when you download the app, it's going to ask for location, and it will also ask for Bluetooth access, because this is it's a Bluetooth connection to your phone. So, and then it will come up with this screen right here. It's kind of looking for the device. And as soon as you turn the device on, which I'm still getting used to, it will go to this screen right here, which shows that it's in cooling mode. And it shows the wind speed, which I can turn down. And I can also adjust the temperature in Fahrenheit. And in the settings, you can set it between Fahrenheit and Celsius. So you can actually adjust it through the app. And I found out that if you long press the power button, it switches it between cooling mode, which is like the air conditioner mode, heating mode. It actually heats up if you're cold. It also sets it so it's just a fan, kind of like that other one that I had. And then it also has an AI mode, which I believe will be, whatever you set it to, it will either cool or heat and keep you at that temperature. So let's just say I have it on cooling right now, and I want to cool myself, and it shows the ambient temperature of the unit. So it shows that it's 73 degrees in my basement right now. And now let's go ahead and turn it on heat mode. And see right there, as soon as I turn it on heat mode, it shows it to get to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, and with the heating mode, I can feel this thing start to get warm. And it's not hot air blowing out, it's actually the aluminum on my neck is getting warmer. It's getting up to 104 degrees. You can see the ambient temperature is now at 81, and it's going to get warmer and warmer and warmer. And then if I turn it on wind, it turns off these aluminum heating and cooling elements in here, and it just blows wind up through these vents onto my face. And again, you can adjust that fan to whatever you want. And then you can set AI mode, and you can set the temperature, like right now it's set at 79 degrees Fahrenheit, and it will keep the temperature at 79 degrees. So if you go colder, the air conditioning will go on. If you get it warmer, then the heating part of it will go on. There is a power button at the top, and if you press that, you'll get a warning that says the unit will turn off and the Bluetooth will turn off. So the only way to turn it back on is by pressing the power button again. So let's go ahead and press the power button, and you can see it automatically switches on the app. When it comes to charging this device, it does charge at 15 watts, so it charges pretty quick. And it does say that it has a 22.2 watt-hour battery. So if this thing was dead, it would take about an hour and a half to charge it all the way up to 100%. Okay, some more information about the lower 4 buttons on the app, and I'm just going to read them from this little manual right here. But the silent button, what it does is it limits the power of the fan and reduces the speed to reduce noise. The hot pack mode, which is the hot pack right here, it quickly switches from any mode to H1 to get it to start heating. And then cooling first is the same thing. It goes from any mode to the C3 mode to start cooling as fast as it can. And then the low power mode, it will limit the power of the cooling plate and reduce the power consumption of the sensor to extend the battery life. All right, well, this air conditioner, heater, fan, AI unit from RANVOO is not really what I expected. It actually works better. It cools your neck, so it just makes it so you just feel cool without blasting a bunch of air all over you. So even if it's windy outside, you'll still feel that coldness. And it actually heats your neck. So if you're cold, you can use this thing to actually heat you up, which I did not know. I love the fact that it has a display right here. I love the fact that both of these things, the fan and the air conditioner, which are sold separately, of course, they are both rechargeable using USB-C ports. And I also like the fact that this thing has its own app. So I can just click on my app if I want this thing to cool off a little bit more without having to take it off and adjust it and try to do stuff like that. I can just get on the app and select it down a couple more degrees. So if you have any questions about the personal air conditioner from RANVOO or this little tiny personal fan, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I have links to these items in my description, just in case you want to look further into them. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Bye-bye.